This episode is brought to you by Indeed. Stop waiting around for the perfect candidate. Instead, use Indeed sponsored jobs to find the right people with the right skills fast. It's a simple way to make sure your listing is the first candidates see. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs have 4 times more applicants than non-sponsored jobs. So go build your dream team today with Indeed. Get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
On this episode of Bantha Milk Podcast, we talk all about a guy with red and black tattoos all over his face.
Cut in half after 3 lines of dialogue, and then suddenly he's the most relevant character in so many things. We've got a lot to talk about for someone who died in the first movie.
We sure do. Let's get into it.
It's the Bantha Milk Podcast. Yeah! Pour a glass of that blue milk, we know it's gonna last. With Rob and James behind the controls, discussing Jedi, Sith, and all the plot holes. Every week we're back, can't be denied. Got the hot takes flowing and the canon clarified. Go! Yeah, yeah, go! And qualified. Yeah, yeah,
All right, we're back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Back for another round of Bantha Milk Podcast just for you. This one's a special one. This one is super awesome. If you don't know, if you're in the Star Wars universe and you live under a rock, I'm trying to think of what something would be like a rock that you would live under in Star Wars. If you're stuck
under
on
a sandcrawler, perhaps.
Under a sandcrawler, there you go. If you're living under a sandcrawler, you have no idea that there's a new animated series coming out. So exciting. Maul Shadow Lord.
Love it. We're just less than 2 weeks away at this point.
I love it. And I just noticed your shirt. You got your good old Maul shirt on.
I'm ready for him.
You are repping the man.
I had my wrong Star Wars shirt on earlier, so I'm like, I need to put the Maul shirt on. What was I thinking?
That is awesome.
So
what were you thinking? Can't wear your Grogu shirt for this episode. No way.
That would be a mistake. He's not the hero we're looking for. So
he is not the hero you were looking for. This is not the hero we're looking for. All right. So we are back. We have a whole bunch to talk about. A lot of fun stuff, but mostly I'm gonna say it right now, and I'll say it again later when we get into it. James did so much work for this. This is awesome. He has the most elaborate, detailed rundown of Maul you will ever want to hear. So make sure you stay for the whole show, because if you don't know who Maul is, and if you're like our friend OJ Sands in the chat right now, and you think as a mall is a place where you go with a whole bunch of different stores in it that in the 90s was super cool, but not anymore, it's spelled differently.
yes.
And then the new guy, this guy's much, much cooler. Whether it's a full mall or half a mall or whatever, James is all over it.
He looks great with a lot of legs. So, we just got to embrace whatever it becomes and however it goes from there. So, yeah, I was laughing because I'm like, we'll be quick and early on this one. And then one of our beloved YouTube channels that gives us good information, Star Wars Explained, just dropped their Darth Maul history a couple days ago. But I'm like, theirs is only 10 minutes. We've got a lot more to talk about. So
we have way more than that. Yeah, you're going to be with us for a while, folks, and you're going to know everything there is to know about Maul.
Oh, I cut so many things out of so many details or little deep dive lore. So not everything, but everything you need to know. Hopefully.
So on the script it's cut out, but I guarantee you're still going to feed all that stuff. You're going to be like, oh, and, because I do that all the time. I try and cut it down, and then bam, oh, and shows up, and it's all back in there, which is wonderful. So
yeah.
So we have that going for us. Before we do that, let's see what else. What's new with you, and what are you drinking this week, James?
Oh, we're Leinenkugel's buddies.
Yes.
I see it. I was like, you had the shandy last week, so I'm like, I'm going to pull out the dark lager this week.
Yeah, I got another shandy. I love Langenkugels, and especially their summer shandy is so good. It's once again tricking me here in the Great Northeast into thinking it's almost spring, but this is like the third version of spring for us. We're going to go back to another winter and then another spring again.
We had 70-degree weather today. It was perfect shandy season.
Uh-huh. Yes, perfect shandy season. So I pulled the shandy out again. What's yours? What did you say you have?
I've got the dark lager. So it's a coffee
Dark
and chocolate
lager.
mix. So I haven't had this one. So
very
I'm looking
nice.
forward to trying it. So
Yes, that sounds delicious.
yeah, I'm sad my
All
tour
right,
of Wisconsin beers is coming to an end pretty soon. Until I find more, of course. But
I know. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get out and get some more of my New Jersey beers.
ooh, yeah, keep repping.
So we can have a competition over which state's beer is better. But all right, let's see if yours pops better than mine. Ooh, I heard them both.
I think you won that round. So I had just
I
a
don't know,
little puff.
Yeah, you got that. You got that little cap at the end snapping sound also, which made it nicer. So there we go.
I'll take it. So
All right. Well, cheers to you, my friend.
Cheers.
Langenkugel's brothers over here from 17 states away. How's yours?
that's good.
Good stuff.
I'm not the biggest coffee fan, so I'm always a little bit worried about the dark ones, but it's not too much there. So I'm pretty happy about
Okay.
this. This might make it through the mall discussion. We'll see.
Very nice. I don't drink normal coffee by itself, or even if I go to Starbucks, I get an iced tea or like some kind of a red drink of some sort, but
Yeah.
never ever coffee. But I do like beers, dark beers that have that coffee taste to them,
Yeah.
even though I don't like coffee. But yeah, so if it has a little bit of a coffee taste to it, I'd be down with that as well.
I
there
love
we
the
go.
smell of coffee. Not burnt coffee, like just coffee. I'm like, oh, I can get behind that. But yeah, I'm not a coffee drinker myself either, so I'm right with you.
Yeah, I used to work at a A&W Hot Dogs and More in the mall.
Ooh.
And we all the mall food courts all serve coffee, and I despised coffee, and I didn't even want to like make it. But you can't say to your boss when you're a 15-year-old kid, like, I'm not going to make the coffee because I don't like. So I had to make it, and I the smell of it was an acquired taste. I finally got the acquired smell of coffee, so I don't mind the smell of it either. And like when my wife makes all these like fancy ones in the Keurig with different scents and all that stuff and whatever, like I'm like, oh, that smells good.
Yeah. It almost makes you want to try it, and then you remember, wait, I don't like coffee.
Wait, I don't like coffee. Nope, not at all. So I'm not going to try it. All right.
So for those of you screaming at us of how can you not like coffee, just remember that means more coffee for you in the world. So
Exactly. And the funny thing is, I've often wanted to, because the rest of my family loves coffee. I've often wanted to open up like a little coffee shop or something like that. I thought it'd be a lot of fun to own one, because the smell of the roasted coffee and all that stuff, it is a good smell. But
I'm with you.
yeah, it would be really hard for me to do that and not know what any of it tastes like. But whatever, it is what it is. Until then, we'll just keep making podcasts about Star Wars.
Absolutely, we will.
Absolutely. All right, other shows on the network real fast. You got Ears Up, the main show. We got Puny Pod. We got Buena Vista Boys. We got the Fantasyland Draft League. Brand new. They had a new one once a month coming out, so check it out. Coming soon, these two faces that you're looking at here will be there in May for May the 4th.
They got something between us, so...
Yeah, there's still more coming before us, but we recorded it. By the time we're done, I think we're going to be like 3 years older by the time that finally comes out. We recorded it so long ago.
Basically, but Ryan's been busy. Ryan had 2 Puny Pod episodes since the last time we recorded come out, so...
Yeah, so he's been busy over there.
He has.
Yeah,
so.
I'm just gonna be shocked when we listen to our episode of Fantasyland Draft League, because I don't remember what I drafted anymore.
You drafted all the classics. They were all
I did
all the classics. It was a classic
all the
team
classics
until it wasn't.
Yeah. until one drastically downhill from there.
You gotta wait for Rob's 5th round pick, because it rounds the team out so well, clearly. So no spoilers, but
No, well, you're spoiling it for me as well, because I completely forget. So it'll be a lot of fun. So that'll be awesome.
I can't wait to remind you later. So
yes, and of course, the Supreme Resort is the other one on the network. So we got all these cool network shows. So we got that going. I'm going to play a little song here for some Star Wars news, even though there's not really much Star Wars news this week from us. But I do like playing songs, if anybody knows anything about me.
Star Wars news.
All right, that's a different Star Wars news song. I didn't realize I had 2 different versions of Star Wars.
We've got options, so.
We have options. We sure do. So obviously, not only is Maul coming out very soon, so that's what all the buzz is about, is the latest trailer for Maul, which was amazing. And
yeah.
I think the graphics are so much fun.
They are like it's amazing that they have kept that Clone Wars look, but every time they have something new, it just looks better, but still feels like true to that style and everything. And I can't get over it. Of like, it feels classic, but still feels modern, and I just adore it.
I love it. I think it's it looks so much better, but then at the same time, still the same.
Yep.
So, and Olivia, by the way, is mad at us for not liking coffee.
Well,
she's the one screaming. She says this is crazy.
She's from the home of Starbucks. Like it's like when you're a baby, you go to milk and then you go to your Starbucks bottle. Like it's how it's got to be, right?
Right to the Starbucks.
Yeah.
It's in the formula, I think, out there.
Oh
yes.
yeah. Sorry. Why 2 bottles when you can just do 1?
Exactly. They have the one to wake the baby up, and then another bottle later on that doesn't have Starbucks in it to put them back to sleep. So yeah. So big thing with that, and then of course
the Maul trailer looks so good. Like
the Maul trailer looks amazing.
So many cool story things that they got built in and everything. It's like ooh, I'm excited.
We're gonna have so much fun every week breaking down the 2 episodes each week for the whole month of April.
Yeah.
So
I know.
And then James is leaving us for May the 4th.
I'm gone for the finale.
The finale. He's not even going to be able to see it.
I don't know if I will.
He's going to be on a Disney boat.
I'm going to be on a Disney
still
cruise.
Won't be able to see
Maybe they'll have Disney Plus and I'll be able to stream it still. But I won't be able to tell you how I feel until days later when I finally land in Portugal.
You're gonna have to. Well, you're going across the ocean, so it's not even like you're gonna be stopping in a port somewhere where you'll then have Wi-Fi that you'll be able to download it while you're watching it. You're just gonna be gone out in nowhere. So
you'll finally hear from me on like May 9th. So.
And you'll be like, "Oh my God!"
Yeah,
and I'll be
exactly. Like, hopefully, that's what I get to tell you.
You missed the whole thing.
Yeah.
That, and then of course, the Mandalorian. There was an article, and I didn't read the whole thing, but they were talking about how so many people were mad at the Super Bowl ad that The Mandalorian put out. And I loved it. Did it show anything new for the movie? Absolutely not. Was it a great Super Bowl ad? In my opinion, yes. But even like Tom, big fan of the show, and he's been on the show numerous times, he even hated it. He was like, this is so stupid. It was such a waste of time. It was a waste of money and all this stuff. And I thought it was fun. I thought it was very entertaining. It was a great idea, in my opinion, to make a commercial that had absolutely nothing new to show or anything to show for it, but other than just being a parody of an old Budweiser commercial.
Yeah.
But with the latest preview that they showed, the latest trailer that they put out, everybody's now happy again. Because now we're seeing actual trailer clips from the movie, and everybody's super excited again.
You just can't please everyone, right? And so like we just run into this situation. It's like it's fine. Like we should appreciate it for what it is and everything like that goes from it. It's how many times do we complain like, oh, that trailer is showing everything that the movie has for it, so now I got nothing to be surprised about. It's like, this is great. We're seeing a thing that's nothing of the sort.
Yeah. Yeah, the commercial didn't give away one single clue, and I thought it was entertaining and fun. But
but we knew exactly who it was and everything to go with it. So
it was awesome that way. All right, we have some other things here. This article, Star Wars officially unveils the 5th scary creature in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie.
Ooh.
So here are all 5 scary creatures confirmed to appear in the Mandalorian and Grogu. The first one that we saw in the previews and the commercials was a dragon snake. One creature that appeared recently released trailer looks extremely similar to a dragon snake. A dragon snake is a beast that has shown up in Star Wars canon before.
Okay.
And while it is not confirmed that the one in the trailer is a true dragon snake, it looks to be an albino version of one. Notably, in the Clone Wars Season 3, an episode titled Hunt for Zero featured a dragon snake facing off against Obi-Wan Kenobi and Quinlan Vos.
Right.
The two Jedis fight this creature on the planet Nal Hutta, which is an awesome planet, by the way.
Home of the Hutts.
Which is the home world of the Hutts. Since Jeremy Allen White's Rada the Hutt will play a major role in The Mandalorian and Grogu, it is possible that this scene is from the trailer is set on Nal Hutta. The second character in this article is labeled as unknown alien character. Good. It's good that they did all this type of research and found that it's called an unknown alien character.
Yeah,
the only creature,
very good. Just like we found out what Yoda's species is. So, all right,
yes, it's Yoda's species is the name of Yoda's species.
We've done it. So, oh my gosh. So, all right. Well, I like scary creatures. So, like, that's what the Star Wars.
Yeah, it's an unknown scary creature. The only creature that has appeared in The Mandalorian and Grogu's marketing material that seemingly does not belong to any established species in the Star Wars universe is an alien that popped up in the most recent trailer and muttered a couple of lines to Grogu.
Okay.
Specifically around the 1 minute 26 second mark, this reptile-like creature with teeth, asked Grogu, "Are you scared?" After Grogu nodded his head, the creature said, "You should be."
Ooh.
Obviously, it's unclear what this creature's motivations are. It is possible that it kidnapped Grogu, but it could also be a bounty hunter or another minor antagonist who is just trying to intimidate the Mandalorian foundling. The third one is called Mantelian Savrip. Another creature that showed up in both of the Mandalorian and Grogu trailers is one that Star Wars fans may not have known they have seen before. In fact, I already know I saw that before.
Okay, yeah,
In fact, it has popped up in one way or another many times throughout the Star Wars franchise, and this is a Mantelian Savrip. Technically, a Mantelian Savrip has never actually appeared in true form in a Star Wars movie or TV show. But they just said it is, but it isn't. Instead, it is one of the pieces of the game Dejarik, which is most commonly seen on the round game boards inside the Millennium Falcon.
Okay, yep.
Okay, there we go.
We love those Dejarik monsters. Absolutely.
Yes.
From the Millennium Falcon table. Yep.
There we go. Okay, so now, Savrips are reptiles from Ord Mantell, best known for their size and strength. In The Mandalorian and Grogu, it seems as though Din Djarin will go face-to-face with the Savrip inside a gladiator ring. So, yes, on the table, I'm pretty sure it's like this one is really big. It's got big shoulders and a big, like, lizard head. And I think when they were playing it, it was the one that actually swiped away the other bad guy and might have even, like, bit the other piece when he captured the other piece. I think that's what this is going to be. All right, the next one is called an Amani, A-M-A-N-I.
Okay.
An Amani was showcased in the first teaser for The Mandalorian and Grogu. Specifically, it was a creature with a flat face, grimacing, and sticking its head out of the water. I had to say water because apparently I say water wrong, so I had to say it the right way.
Your East Coast accent coming through.
That's right.
Water.
Water. Give me some water.
Oh,
I'm
that's
from
even
Philly.
worse
Yo,
than
give
I
me
thought
some
it
water.
was. Oh, my goodness.
Yep. All right. So Amani are originally from Maradun, maybe, but they were also spotted on Utapau during the Clone Wars era. They were.
Yeah.
Oh, how do you say it?
Utapau.
Utapau.
That's where Kenobi fought Grievous.
Oh, that makes so much more sense now. They were historically considered a dangerous and primitive species, but have not been featured much in Star Wars media. The first time an Amani was shown on screen was in Return of the Jedi during the scenes at Jabba's palace, and Amani can be spotted in that film. And then the last but not least, fifth dangerous creature is a sewer rat.
Hey, when you're the size of Grogu, that could be really dangerous. So
yes, that is true. One of the creatures that stole the spotlight in the first Mandalorian and Grogu trailer was the sewer rat, which was found at, hence the name, a sewer. Particularly added one large eye and and big teeth. In the teaser, it seemingly wanted to attack Grogu, but Grogu used one of his new gadgets to spray its eye with some kind of green goo. So that is the 5 creatures that we saw in the preview so far. Olivia just wrote, I just thought, why did Rob say water weird? And by weird, I meant normal. I did it just for you guys. You guys make fun of my accent.
It's just how the word goes. Like, you just got to say it. So
you got to say it. All right. And the other news article that I have, this is a fun one. And I'll see if you agree with these facts. This is from Screen Rant. 6 ways Disney's Star Wars is better than George Lucas's era.
Wow. That's okay.
Yes.
Okay. I can believe there's probably some arguments of things they've done better. I'm listening.
I read through it already. Some of them are a real stretch. I'll just put it that way. Number 6, Disney's Star Wars canon is more coherent, despite the occasional retcon.
I mean, it's broader, so you get a lot more to it, and they trimmed out a lot of things to make things like a little bit more clear of this is canon, this isn't. So I can give them some credit for that. With the amount of content that's out there, like I think they did an okay job on that. I will award a plausible for that one.
Okay. They said basically throughout the original 6 live-action movies in Star Wars, the Clone Wars were classed as pure canon. And even though sometimes contradict each other, the entirety of the expanded universe, books and comic collections, now better known as the defunct Star Wars Legends Continuing, was sort of canon, but only until something on screen changed the story. Though the books were largely based on Lucas's own ideas, he also ignored much of what was established in the EU, continuing during the prequels, such as Boba Fett's backstory.
Mm-hmm.
And then they say similar in video games were only considered canon so long as they didn't directly contradict anything in Lucas's own creation. And then this loose approach to canon means that plenty of interesting, even groundbreaking Star Wars storytelling became lost in the chaos of the galaxy, forgotten or otherwise scrapped for parts. Mm-hmm. By contrast, in April 2014, Disney announced that the EU would become Legends and no longer have any bearing on Star Wars canon continually. Anything produced or approved by Disney would, from that point onward, be considered part of Star Wars canon alongside the 2 trilogies in the Clone Wars animated sub-franchises. So, yes, they did do that. They did try to clean it up because, before that, anybody could write a book, and as when we talked to John Jackson Miller years ago, as long as you didn't kill off a main character, you were pretty much okay and could do whatever you wanted.
True.
So, all right, that's number 6. Number 5, and this is what you just said. The Star Wars galaxy is more diverse than ever before. So, yes, I agree with this one. The Star Wars galaxies is more diverse now because they've had more time to build more things. They were able to build it out. They were able to, go back and get into more detail and then create newer characters. And, we get a Mandalorian. We get all these different things. We get a Maul. We get a Thrawn, that we didn't get before. So,
yep, they're bringing a lot of the world in. I think you'll still have people when you think about like calling it diverse, like you still have the issues of how like John Boyega and Kelly Marie Tran were in the sequel trilogies and that problem. But as we think about like the galaxy and the people who live in the galaxy, 100% there's a lot more stories that are being told.
Yep, agreed. Number 4, George Lucas's launched Star Wars animated content, but Disney took it to new heights. I can agree with that. I feel like if you watched any of the Star Wars cartoons from the 80s, they were very campy and Scooby-Doo-ish.
Mm-hmm.
And then since the Clone Wars and Rebels and everything, the Bad Batch and whatever else. What else has been good?
All of
cartoons?
The Tales have come out that have been good.
Yeah, the Tales have been good.
I'll still advocate for all of the anime Star Wars.
Yep. Yeah,
So-
and they were good. Like I said, it just wasn't my thing.
Just
but
not
yeah,
your
they
thing,
were good.
but good to have that. So, even Resistance had its merit in where it was going.
Yeah.
Not the greatest, by all means.
Not the greatest. And I thought Resistance was good for what it was. It was more kid-based than it was really digging deep. But they did a really good job with all of it, and they really tried to get it to intertwine into the galaxy the way it is.
Yep, absolutely.
Disney's number 3. Disney Star Wars live-action TV output is a major win for the franchise.
I mean, I'm always a fan of more Star Wars content is good.
Right.
Can you critique the quality of everything that they've put out? Of course. But
Yep.
I will go with that one. I would rather have more content in the world than just be waiting for a movie every 5 years.
Yeah, I can agree to that as well. And I would say the majority of the TV series that have come out have been good. I feel some of them have not been, obviously The Acolyte didn't do what it was supposed to do, but Andor did.
I just love how much it seems like Disney's storytelling, or even just a lot of the Star Wars world, like the first season of so many shows is just okay or not great and has problems. Like Rebels, first season, by far the weakest of all of it. Clone Wars, a little tough going through a lot of that one. Resistance, I think, was the same. Acolyte, like, it was messy for that season, and we never get to see anything more of it. But you look at how everything follows up with all these shows. Like, Andor is our exception. Andor was incredible throughout all of it.
Or even The Mandalorian. I feel
too.
the first season of Mandalorian was amazing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Agree with you on that one. So there's a few times that it happens, but like
like
sometimes
you said,
we just need time.
The first season of Clone Wars, like so many of the episodes were so campy and just weird, and it was just like, hey, we're gonna do a 3-series arc now on just R2D2 and C3PO for no reason whatsoever, and it was like,
sure,
all right, I'm almost gonna stop watching this now. But luckily, they figured out what they were doing, and they definitely got it better as they went on. So I think yes. And I agree with you. More Star Wars is always better, as long as if you have different people working on different things where they can really focus a lot of time and effort onto it. I think it's great. But I think if we take Dave Filoni and just make him write and create everything, he's gonna get watered down.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. But yeah, I would say of all the live actions, there's been more thumbs up than thumbs down. So yes, I agree with that.
Yep.
Star Wars number 2. Star Wars now has the space to experiment with new genres. As a result of Star Wars live action animated TV success, the franchise also had a chance to experiment with new genres. In theory, Star Wars can be anything. But George Lucas era stories were very much tied to the concept of the Jedi versus the Sith, good versus evil. While the Vietnam War inspired the original trilogies, Rebel Alliance and Lucas incorporated more overt politics into the prequel trilogy. The movies were very largely fantasy-heavy space operas filled with knights, swords, mystics, and romance. Under Lucas, individual episodes of the Clone Wars could explore new genres and subgenres. Even so, it wasn't until Disney took over and began producing more content with its newly established canon that The Mandalorian Season 1 could channel a vintage Western, and something like Andor could be categorized as a political thriller. Even within Star Wars' established lore and universe, there's no better way to keep the franchise fresh and exciting for future fans and filmmakers alike. I can see that. I don't know. This one seems like a pretty weak topic, considering you're almost restating the other topics again, just to try and give an extra point there.
It's like the world has been around longer, so they've done it and they've done cool things. Like fine.
Yeah.
We're in the era where they're relaunching Harry Potter as a TV series, and they're not doing anything different. They could do a ton of different things with that, but they haven't. And so,
Right.
I think with time we'll get there, and the things have worked out really well that are going to be good for it.
Facts. The last one, we were just saying that, it's been around a lot longer, so they're able to do a lot more different things, and I agree with that.
It's good.
And I did like that. I did like that The Mandalorian was more of a Western, and that Andor. If you didn't know some of the times that you were watching a Star Wars movie or series in Andor, you would just think that it was a good like they said, a political thriller type series. Almost some of the times you forgot that it was a Star Wars show, I feel like.
Yeah, they did such a good job with that. Like, not all Star Wars has to be a space opera. At the base and the heart of it, that's what it is. But that's not everything that goes on, and I think that's a good thing.
And finally, number 1, Disney's Star Wars isn't afraid to explore the franchise's vast timeline, which is true. I mean, they tried out going into the show that was not a success.
They are terrified of leaving this timeline now. Let's be honest.
Yes.
That is...
Once they tried it, yeah, and that didn't work.
Like,
yeah, go ahead.
You know, they launched all the High Republic books, and then they send out a TV show in the High Republic era. It's like, people hated it. Like, I feel like the only safe out of timeline, like Skywalker Saga timeline, that you'll get the fans to be okay with is if they go Old Republic and really play on a lot of that video game and everything that goes with it. I think there's a lot of fear to leave that timeline now. So I think that's so wrong.
Yeah, and the fact that it's number 1 is also kind of funny that they said that's number 1.
Yeah.
After the show was such a flop.
Mm-hmm.
And this just came out too. This is brand new. This is from March 20th. So I don't agree with that one at all, because like you said, they're deathly afraid now of going outside of this timeline.
They'll have to at some point. There's only so many characters that they can keep on fitting in, like with a little needle of like, oh, we can have them interact with Luke at this point in time.
Yeah, we're gonna feed them in here, and then we'll put this person in over here.
Yep.
But yeah, I feel like Dave Filoni really had his timeline that he really liked to work in. The Rebels era, the Mandalorian era,
yeah,
like all
absolutely.
that is all a really good timeline to fit into. And now they're afraid. They tried it and it did not go over well at all. So, yep. So that's the end of that article. Did you I think we talked about the other things that you said. Did you say something else?
Yeah,
I forget.
I just had one other one, which was the puppeteer from BB-8, Brian Herring, had an interview, and I think this is a bold take, but a good, interesting take, says, give it time, the sequel trilogy will settle, similar to how the prequel trilogy has. People haven't had enough time away from it, and people who are most upset just don't remember that other experience that went with it, and the internet's arguably making a lot of it worse. So he is convinced that in about 10 years or so, that we will see the sequels in a much better light. But I did love that he concluded, like, if you don't like them, you don't like them. Everything's not for everyone. And I just think of these things are all generational. Battlestar Galactica said it best. This has all happened before, and it'll all happen again.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I mean, everything, I feel like anything when it becomes more nostalgic, then you're like, oh, I really like it, and it's okay. So, so we'll see what happens with that. It is funny that he's like, give it 10 more years and people will like it.
Yep.
Because what's going to happen in 10 more years is then it's going to be the 20th anniversry.
And people are like,
oh, yeah, I love that. Yeah, so they're going to want to see it in the theater again if there are theaters in 10 years from now.
Very, very intrigued. Love the hot take. So shout out that fella. Being brave.
It's the Vandermilt Pop.
All right. Well, that's the end of the Star Wars news. We're going to jump into James's favorite topic, I think. What was that noise?
That was the song.
It was the song. All right, here we go. Jedi of the Week.
Yeah. I'm the Jedi of the Week. I've been running it like I be Yoda for a minute. Putting on a clinic with my homie Obi-Wan Kenobi. Can you feel it? On the field like a real one. Yeah, I'm the one.
All right, James is the one.
I'm the one.
Jedi of the Week. You are the chosen one, James.
Ah, good. Well, I can't wait to tell you about this one. As I continue my alphabetical journey, we land at the letter P. And since we're leaning into the villains tonight, as some would say, I thought it was only fitting that we spotlight Master Pong Krell.
Ooh.
If Obi-Wan Kenobi represented the absolute best of what a Jedi could be during the Clone Wars, Pong Krell, pretty much your exact opposite. Dark, cynical, talked about the reality of war, was actually doing to the Order. So if you don't remember Krell, he was a massive basilisk Jedi Master who fought on the Umbara arc, and that's important in a sec. But he had 2 folding double lightsaber blades, and just this absolute brute. He won. He won a lot, but he had the highest casualty rate of any Jedi commander. He saw the clones as pawns, as tools, not as people. And so it was a big thing that they weren't living beings. They were, equipment, for lack of a better way to describe them. So they could go out and die and then be gone. Meanwhile, Anakin and Snips and all the good ones were jumping in to save all of their men. Krell just threw them out there. Didn't even learn their names or anything, called them by their call signs, and just dumped them. So... And then, of course, it gets worse, because during the Battle of Umbara, he didn't just lead the clones to their deaths. He, pitted them against each other in the dark to trick them to start shooting at each other. So...
Oh, no.
Yeah, I know. Spoilers for the Clone Wars, obviously, but, oh my gosh. And so, he'd already aligned himself with the dark side by this point, so he was just trying to sabotage the win, hoping to get noticed by Count Dooku, a good old pick-me Jedi, but didn't go very far for that one. So when you get the good eggs like Kenobi, you get the bad eggs like Pong Krell.
Pong Krell. What a devious master he was.
Mm-hmm. And I say the Arc of Umbara is important because I believe the writers of that series actually are back for the Maul series. And that is one of the best arcs in the Clone Wars. There's a lot of good ones, but that one I always remember and think about. So I'm like, this is going to be good storytelling that we're going to run into. So
yes, that's awesome. Well, we can't wait. I can tell you that much.
No,
we're both very
can't.
excited for it. Get it to it already. Get to April where we can start watching the Maul series. But all right, well, he's awesome. He's a interesting looking fella too. He looks like almost like he's amphibious with the way his face is. Mm-hmm. And he's just a big meanie who. It's funny because you would think of Jedi as always caring about everybody and trying to protect everybody the way we see. And he's just like, these are not people. These are just tools.
Yep.
And if my tools break, I'll just get more tools.
There's always more out there. 10 million more on the way, right?
That's right. Send me more. So, awesome. All right, well, we're going to take a real quick break. We're going to listen to some commercials about who knows what. Maybe it's gambling. Do you watch The Daily Show?
Occasionally. I haven't for a while.
They always do. Every once in a while they do a segment, gambling, where they have two of the anchors are supposed to be like sports anchors, and they just bring up ridiculous things to bet on and stuff. But it's always sponsored by gambling. They just say brought to you by gambling.
Amazing.
Just gambling, yeah.
Just gambling.
So just gambling. So all right, well, brought to you by gambling. We're going to be right back with the biggest rundown of Maul you had ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
Refreshing wild cherry cola meets smooth cream. The treat you deserve. Pepsi Wild Cherry and Cream. Treat yourself.
All right, and we're back. I hope you subscribe to that.
Throw your chance cubes at it; it'll be fine. So
that's right. You'll be a-okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so this is for all of you who hate listening to me talk. I'm going to James and I are going to flip roles here.
If they hate listening to you talk, this is not the podcast for them. Let's be honest. So
They have already stopped their subscription to this podcast.
Yes. But if you're here for our good backstory, we're ready for you. So
we are ready for it. So James wrote a whole bunch of stuff all about Maul. He found everything there is to know about Maul and more, and he's going to tell us some of it, not all of it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get to play the color commentator and let James, because he did all this work, so I want him to take all the credit for it.
Well,
so go ahead,
you.
James.
Yes. So excited
Hit
for
us up
Maul.
with it.
Coming out in less than 2 weeks, we're going to get our first 2 episodes. And so I was like, what better time than to give listeners good history, maybe a nugget or two that you forgot about or never heard, or for our new listeners out there, just context. So that way you can watch this great Star Wars show and go from there. So Maul, of course, before we get into it, metaphorical show of hands for everyone, or feel free to put your hand up at that one. If you only watch the movies, you know Darth Maul as a double-bladed lightsaber wielder, scary face paint that dies in episode 1. And that's it. That's his whole character, right?
3 lines, was it? Is that what he had?
Something like that. I mean, it was maybe 5 at most, but it's like, there he was, cut in half, falls down a reactor shaft, never to be seen again. Until. But is he dead? No. He's not dead. He's not, because Dave Filoni decided, hey, let's bring him back. And so he's talked a lot about it, of how it wasn't just like fan service. And it was never a plan of George Lucas. George Lucas' plan was, he's dead, he's gone, see you later. Like, that's as close to like an on-screen death that you get in the Star Wars universe, where you're like, yep, they're gone. It's been good. But no. Dave Filoni was like, we should have him as kind of a counterbalance to all of Darth Sidious's plan and politics and system that's out there. And so we get to see this truly weapon in the making, to grow and continue to be a thorn in both the light side and the dark side. So there's a lot of history to go through. So let's go back to the beginning, where it all begins with Darth Maul. Maul is a Night Brother, or a Zabrak, I think is the other name of the species, basically. Lives on Dathomir, home of the Night Sisters, notoriously led by Mother Talzin, in their magic that they have. Magic with a K, to be specific, for that spelling. And so he has 2 brothers. Farrell is there, and we don't talk about him because he just doesn't really exist at all. But Savage Opress is important later on. Yes. So I think it's important because you want to humanize Maul. Like, we saw him so briefly, and I will continue to refer to him as a weapon in the world that just wants to be a person or find their place in the world, but continues to just choose violence. And that's where he exists. So we get to see him as a person that you might kind of care about, because he grew up in that Night Brother village, and was taking care of people. He got his Force sensitivity early. He's angry that it keeps on going and getting deeper. And then Sidious shows up to Dathomir because he's looking for a new apprentice. And he makes a deal with Mother Talzin, while Darth Maul ran away to the forest to hide. And so Sidious, being the conniving person he is, says, oh, I'll trade you some of my Sith knowledge if you give me some of your magic. And then how about I take you as my apprentice? Like, we can figure this out. But then, like he does, betrays her. This guy kills his master after he learns everything, and then just says, nah, you're giving me that kid. He's going to be my Sith apprentice. And so Maul runs away, gets found, thrown into a pit, doesn't even get to say goodbye to Mom. Like, it's like the Jedi. They just take the kids away.
But they take him away, and then they're not nice to him the way the Jedi are nice.
No. This training was bad. And of course, like, it all makes sense. Like, if you're going to the dark side and you want to train, like, you need to embrace anger and rage and all of it. And like, Sidious plotted this out so good. Like, this is a Maul podcast, but we're praising Sidious right now for being the mastermind he is, because he had the plan to turn Maul even more into that weapon for him and like traumatize this poor kid to really kind of make it happen. So he just keeps on getting beat up. He keeps on getting starved. He keeps on just waiting. And Sidious just keeps watching, like letting it happen. It's exactly like you said, not like the Jedi. So
Nope.
So he starts to resent his mom, and that feeds into his dark side. And eventually he becomes more powerful. And he's not getting beat up anymore because now he's intimidating. He's finally figured it out. And this is so chilling because Sidious gets Maul not just angry, but he wants to control that anger. And let's be honest, hard thing to do, terrible emotion, just breaking out of there. So this isn't fun. This isn't just a joy that Sidious has to like taunt, tease, torture. He's making it happen so that way Maul becomes that monstrous weapon that he gets.
It's great manipulation. If you want to make the most evil person in the world, you can't hug them and be nice to them. You have to treat them horrible so that they're angry about everything, and then he gets them to direct that anger in the direction that he wants them to, and makes him the most evil person, which unfortunately in the movie you don't get all of that. You don't really get to understand that. You just see that he's this awesome looking angry bad guy, and that's all you know. You have to really, really read the books and eventually the comics, and then eventually when he shows up in Clone Wars and stuff like that, the animated series, you actually get to learn a lot more about him. But yes, so yeah, it's a dangerous way to lead. But then again, you know, Sidious isn't the nicest guy in the world, so it doesn't surprise me that this is what he would do to make the best weapon that he could ever make, the most evil weapon ever.
Yeah, and I think you make a good point, because like in episode 1, he looks like the hired gun, like just the muscle that's been hired to kind of do the thing, and you don't really get this depth and understanding of it. So again, we love when characters get more detail and time to understand things, especially when we can make it make sense, right? Mm-hmm. So throughout his training and everything that Sidious was doing, he also had him working as like an assassin. One of his notable assassinations was killing a Jedi Padawan named Eldra Kaitis. So he was hanging out with some bounty hunters and faked it all and still wanted more, still craved more blood. So that was a good sign. Sidious knew that he got Maul to where he wanted him to be. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So as that went on, Sidious was finally doing like a ceremony to choose his warrior apprentice, and Maul basically just like choked out the other two people that were hanging out and others around, and then Sidious was just so happy. It's like, of course, Maul's got to be it. He's been it the whole time, and so that's where he became Darth Maul. And then again, Talzin is stuck watching Sidious take her son again, and Maul doesn't even know if Mom cares. Mother Talzin just let him go, and so now we get this bitter child with more anger and resentment to just keep fueling dark side powers.
Because now not only is he being abused by Sidious, but now his mom isn't even trying to help him get back to her. She's just like, all right, peace out, have fun.
Yeah.
So now he's extra angry.
Yep. And that's hard. You know, Talzin's got like hundreds of Night Sisters and Night Brothers to tend to by all means, but still it's like, come on, your kid's out with the...
Yeah.
I mean, the guy that's going to kill you if you try, probably, but...
Right, which it could also be the other reason why, even with all of her magic, she knows that she's probably still outgunned by Sidious's power. So if she were to try to get him back, then he would probably just kill everybody on the whole. He could kill the whole planet if he wanted to. So she was like, all right, I'll sacrifice one for the many.
Yep. And that's a hard choice. And like, as you see what Maul becomes, like, whew.
Yep.
So, yeah. So then we make it basically to canon movie time, maybe a little bit before, but like we got that representation of who Maul is in the film. Double blade lightsaber, super acrobatic and nimble. Like, what an incredible masterpiece. Part of that training before we got there, though, was Sidious took him to the planet of Malachor. Malachor is a site of an ancient Jedi-Sith battle. It's not the only time that we hear about Malachor, of course. And Sidious forces Maul to breathe in the ashes of dead Sith warriors. And Maul has visions of the Jedi killing the Sith. So he feels all of this pain of what has become his people. And we now have indoctrinated this hatred of the Jedi Order and everything. So we're not just angry with them. They're not just the baddies in their viewpoint. We are family of victims who have been killed, and now we have an enemy to put this rage against someone.
Yep. Now the Jedi are the bad people. They did this to us. So now he's even more angry. Hatred on hatred on hatred. He's got multiple layers of hatred building up inside of him. He's an angry little fellow there.
He is, and I think what kind of becomes an interesting play on this one is Maul was force sensitive, and the Jedi went and found force sensitive children, but they didn't find him, so they didn't choose him as well. In addition to this, so all the more reason to just be mad. So. Another flaw of the Jedi, right?
But do you think they didn't choose him because he was on Dathomir and was one of the Knight brothers and Knight sisters family, which are some you would say evil? They're,
and I would guess it's complicated because they probably don't have a good relation with Mother Talzin and the Knight sisters. So being like, hey, we're going to take your kid and you're never going to see him again.
Yeah,
it's not going to play well. So
it's not going to play well. So they're looking for other force-sensitive children who they can convince to come with us.
Yep.
We have Candy.
We do. So
they can pet my puppy. They can eat the candy. Come with us, little force-sensitive child.
Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely. So that takes us to episode 1. Rob, what happened with Maul in episode 1? I think you know this part real well.
Yes, he was awesome. It's great because we see Sidious talking to him, and we don't see who he is, and then suddenly you see. I just remember the first time you see his face come into the screen, and you're just like, "Whoa!" But then, he's sent to go fight Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi. The Senator Palpatine orchestrates the easy for you to say, Trade Federation invasion of Naboo, which then Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan are sent to resolve it. Sidious dispatches Maul to find him. So then Maul tracks him down on his, was this when he was flying what's the two-wheeled little vehicle that the mall cops have?
A Segway?
Segway, yeah. His little Segway ship.
Segway? I don't remember the Segway ship at all. I remember his Interceptor, and I remember like the bike with. I'm gonna have to look back at this one.
Yeah. So Maul tracks them down to Tatooine, where he has a brief but explosive duel with Qui-Gon and crosses paths unknowingly with a boy named Anakin Skywalker. The conflict follows to Naboo in the Theed Generator Complex. Maul fights both Jedi simultaneously, dominates the duel, separates them with laser containment fields, and then kills Qui-Gon.
What about this as the greatest moment of his life, right? He's finally in public. He's not hiding as a bounty hunter going to
doesn't have to hide
assassinate.
Anymore. Yep.
He's out there and he's been unleashed. Like, go kill him. You got him.
Yep. And he kills Qui-Gon. Now, I really liked Qui-Gon. I wish we would have had Qui-Gon longer than half an episode.
Yep.
Because he was a fun character. He was a neat character, and it really helped build the Qui-Gon to Obi-Wan to Anakin story arc there. And Qui-Gon was the first one to start not agreeing so much with the Jedi Council, shall we say. Mm-hmm. And then that led Obi-Wan to also veer a little bit, and then of course we all know Anakin veers a lot from there. So then
that whole moment is like the icon. So we get arguably the greatest piece of Star Wars music we've ever had in Duel of the Fates.
Oh my gosh.
Which
and
is
one of the
named.
greatest lightsaber battles of all time too.
Yes.
So good.
But it's perfectly named because if Qui-Gon lives, we have the father figure for Anakin. But instead we just have a brother, and Anakin needed a father. And that was the difference. If you would have had a father, if you would have had Qui-Gon, Star Wars is never the same.
Yes. And the lightsaber battle going from... As a kid, I didn't see Episode 4 the first time I was in the theaters. I was a little too young for that. But I do remember seeing Empire and Return of the Jedi. And they were just starting to figure out that, hey, we can do some really cool things with these lightsaber battles. Because even going back and rewatching, Episode 4 and 5 and 6 so many times, Darth Vader practically at one point was lightsaber battling with just one hand on the sword. He's just like, bow, bow, bow.
Yeah.
And then when you see Duel of the Fates and even the release of the second lightsaber blade, how the second blade pops out of the bottom, that just blew everybody's mind. It was like, oh, he's got a lightsaber.
Yep.
And he's got another side. What? It's dual-sided. This is insane.
Greatest moment. Greatest moment for sure. So.
Such a great reveal. It was so awesome. And then the fight scene was amazing. They were like, look, we're going to actually get some real choreography here. Get some real karate people in here who know how to do real fight scenes and stuff. And it was amazing. And even since then, like you've seen behind-the-scenes stuff where they were practicing this fight scene for weeks at a time. Like, to make it awesome. It was so, so good.
Worth everything.
Worth everything. It was so amazing. So one of the best lightsaber battles. So then Obi-Wan gets through. In his grief and rage, Kenobi is ferocious. Maul disarms him, kicks his saber into the shaft, and taunts him, hanging from a nozzle. Obi-Wan summons Qui-Gon's lightsaber, leaps, and cuts Maul in half right at the waist. And then Maul falls down the shaft. There's lots of shafts in Star Wars stuff. There's lots of...
and that's the end of Darth Maul. So.
And that's the end of Darth Maul. And that's it. It's like, okay, like we said, he had maybe 5 lines. He had this one amazing lightsaber battle. And then immediately... and even Qui-Gon said, what's Qui-Gon's real name? The actor who played Qui-Gon. But he said,
Liam
Neeson. He said a couple months ago, like, for Qui-Gon being a Jedi Master, he kind of went out like a chump. He goes, I really wish he wouldn't have been taken out as quickly as he was, he basically... got distracted and whatever.
It did something really important, though. Like, it showed that the Sith had power. If they could kill, a Jedi Master like Qui-Gon, who had a good reputation, and this is just the apprentice, like this basically 22-year-old kid could do it, and with such, like, arrogance throughout all of it. Like, we needed that. We needed to see that the Jedi couldn't keep up with them. So.
Yeah. And it also helped show that the Jedi were vulnerable if there was a big enough bad guy out there that they were still vulnerable to him. But yeah, so then Kenobi, immediately the son, is able to then kill Maul, cuts him in half, throws him down a hole, and like you said, that's the end of it, except for the fact that anything in movies, especially Star Wars, if you only see an explosion off in the distance, but you don't actually see the ship making the explosion,
you need a full-fledged funeral to know that it's the end of it. Like, that's how it is. So
that's how it is in Star Wars. So it was great that they were able to eventually bring him back in the Clone Wars, the animated series. And I actually rewatched this part just this past week in preparation for this.
Good for you.
And it was in season 4, there was a 3-episode story arc with Maul and his brother, and it was a lot of fun. And I'll let you tell more about it, but it's definitely worth rewatching because, like we said, when you saw the movie, Maul's dead. That's the end of it. That guy was cool. Darn it, we don't get any more of him. And then the animated series comes out and goes, oh no, but you will get more of him.
We got more, yeah.
We got more.
Yeah, and I like to think of a little bit of a parallel here between Maul and Anakin. Of Maul got formed into the weapon that he is and kind of looked to Sidious like a father. Like, yeah, he was the mentor, the master, and all of that, but I think there was more to it deep down. And so when Sidious just leaves him behind, kind of like Prong Krell, like, you're dispensable, see you later, you've served your purpose, like, he's upset, which we'll get more into later. But so surprise, he's not dead. The dead speak, or whatever the line is we're supposed to say, right? So, so what actually happened is Maul landed in a trash container, gets dumped on a junkyard world called Lotham Minor, and survives through pure dark side hatred. He scavenges discard metal, builds a spider-like apparatus so he can walk himself around. He makes a deal with a creature named Morley who brings him scraps in exchange for the leftovers. And you just watch, or his mind has shattered. Like, for a decade, he's just living in madness, muttering to himself, ranting, nothing coherent. The only thing that remains intact is his obsession with Kenobi.
Yes.
Yeah.
And even when you first see him with his brother, because his brother is then sent to go find him, it's very creepy and very, like, almost horror movie-esque scenes in that, like, you just see this little spider thing moving around here and then moving around over here and then all this stuff, and you're like, what's going on? And then when you finally see him, he's definitely lost his marbles there, which was very interesting and fun to watch him insane. Basically, he was definitely insane.
Yeah. And he's just gone, and, like, the brother Savage is like, okay, we got to bring him home. Like, it's what it's got to be. And it's like, can you imagine, like, yeah, we can fix this. Like, seeing him in the show, it's like, nah, he's done for. Like, he can't solve that. But of course, Night Sister magic with a K, very important that we can get his mind back. We can get him some new cybernetic legs so he can actually, like, function in a way that makes sense. And then Maul, being himself, first thing he does, plots revenge. You can't take the dark side out of this guy. You can take his legs, but not his anger.
And it was interesting when he was going crazy. I don't understand the reasoning for it or whatever, but the bones on his head that are the little spikes, his bones grew much longer and more jagged and things like that. And then, like you said, his mom sent her other son, Savage Opress, to go find him. And so he's the one that's walking around on the planet trying to find him. And he gets kind of tricked by Maul's little henchman guy. But then he's going down and he's like, I know you're down here. And I also love the guy who does the voice of Savage Opress, by the way. I think he's done maybe like 2 different characters in Star Wars, which is always fun. But yeah, so he's there, and then he finally, like, knocks his brother out, knocks Maul out, so that he can calm him down, because he's so out of it that he's just going to kill his own brother. And then Savage Opress, like, calls to his mother. They do this magic stuff all around his body, and the magic, with a K, takes the 8-legged spider that he created, breaks it all down, and then makes it better just normal 2 legs. And I guess magic works better than just, regular wrenches and stuff like that. I don't know. So,
I mean, why use a wrench if you got magic, right?
If you got magic, yeah. So she gives him regular 2 legs. His horns are back down to normal again. And then I did like the part where she was just pulling out with the magic all of the bad thoughts and everything out of his head so that he could be back to the Maul that they knew. But even after that, he still is determined to get Kenobi. He still remembers that's so deep down inside of him that it's still determined to find Kenobi.
Yeah. And so a ton of things start happening then as he starts building up towards his Shadow Collective. So this is where we hit Clone Wars, Season 4 and 5, like you were talking about. These are our big key moments. I think one of the most iconic ones, he decides he's going to become like the Sith Master, and he takes his brother as his apprentice, and they go and they kill a member of the Jedi Council in Adigalia. And that's huge. Like, we know how hard it is to kill a council member. That doesn't happen. And what a statement of someone who's not Sidious is killing a Jedi Master in that one.
Yeah.
And then he goes on to do more things. He makes a connection to Death Watch, that Mandalorian group led by Pre Vizsla. And so we get that group that's going to start working with him and respecting him. We watch as he forms a criminal alliance with the Hutts and the Pikes and Black Sun to take over. And then eventually he conquers Mandalore by... surprise, it seemed like there was a problem because his friends in Death Watch rescued the planet. And then he's like, yeah, Vizsla, I'm actually going to be the boss. Even though Vizsla was like a little bit different. So they had Mandalorian combat, right?
And he wins. He takes the Darksaber from Vizsla and then becomes the leader of the Mandalore, as well as Death Watch, as well as creating his own Shadow Collective now of all of the other crime syndicates. So he's now like the ultimate big baddie. This is when Maul stops being reactive and becomes genuinely Sith in his thinking. He's applying Sidious's own method back to someone else. He learns from the Master how to use people's predictability against them.
He's a good apprentice.
He's a good apprentice. He learned. He's now the boss. He's the boss of everything. So if it's bad, he's in charge of it.
Which is why we saw him at the end of Solo, because he was taking care of Crimson Dawn. So
yes. And we really wanted a Solo 2 where we saw more of him in it, but maybe later.
So yeah, we'll get something kind of like this instead, which will work out.
Yeah.
So
yeah, because this is definitely, the series is definitely going to be more about his crime time, his crime lord era. So this will be interesting to see what he does during all this time. So think about all the things that we just talked about, allying with Death Watch. Maybe we'll see some pre-Vizsla Death Watch stuff in there. He systematically forces the major crime syndicates Black Sun, the Pikes, and the Hutts to join his Shadow Collective. So hopefully we see all of that going.
And we know we will because we saw the Pikes in the trailer as a part of that one. So, so we know that they're going to be part of it, let alone the other kind of components that they work on. So,
yeah, so this may be the era that, like, in Maul lore, we would be able to stop for the series, but we're going to continue and tell you everything else there is to know about Maul, all the way to the finale again, maybe.
Yeah, something
Maul.
Like that.
Something like that.
Yeah, yeah, because it's around this moment as we go through a little bit more that comes to the end of all of this is Maul is going on to still chase after that golden goose of his, Kenobi.
Yes, getting Kenobi.
Yep.
He did real fast. I do want to backtrack a second to the Darksaber.
Oh, yeah. Breeze right over that.
Anybody who watched any of the Mandalore series, you know a little bit about the Darksaber. The Darksaber being the ultimate Mandalorian weapon. It's a Mandalorian version of a lightsaber. But whoever holds it is in charge of Mandalore, is the leader of Mandalore. And I don't want to say he's the first non-Mandalorian, because now we discover that, like, Mandalorian isn't really
it's complicated.
Species, but more of it's complicated, yeah. So, whatever. But he's definitely the first outsider to come and really, like, just challenge and take it. And so at this point, he holds the Darksaber, the same one that we see later on, and is now the leader of the Mandalorians, even though he is a Zabrak and not a traditional Mandalorian, but he's using Mandalorian weapons and powers and all that stuff, as well as his Jedi ways or Sith ways to lead and rule Mandalore. So half of Death Watch won't follow a non-Mandalorian ruler. They leave under Bo-Katan, and then but Maul has what he wants. He has Mandalore.
He does.
So, and this is when we see the Bo-Katan split, which we wind up seeing in season 2 or 3 of The Mandalorian, because she leaves after a non-Mandalorian takes the Darksaber. So,
yep. So she's gone. We'll deal with her later. But for now, we're on Mandalore, being led by Duchess Satine, who had turned Mandalore into the pacifist planet. Oh, did you know she has a relationship with Kenobi? Huh.
What?
So convenient. So let's use her as a pawn.
You got to say it the right way, though. Kenobi.
Exactly. Every time. Oh, man. But this is tragic. This is so tragic for Satine and even more for Kenobi. Well, maybe not more because he's still alive. But Qui-Gon captures Duchess Satine, brings Kenobi to the throne room, and then while holding Satine in a force grip, activates the Darksaber, runs through her, and she dies in Kenobi's arms.
Yep.
It's so sad. Yeah.
It's very sad.
It's like, here we go again. Darth Maul is taking out another person that Kenobi, truly loves. No matter what. He's just got to keep on making other people suffer, just like he did when he was a kid. So.
And since he has such hatred towards Kenobi, he's going to make sure he finds everybody that Kenobi likes and tries to torture Kenobi as much as he possibly can.
Yep.
So.
But this doesn't get to last too long, of course, because there can only be 2 Sith. You can't have 2 Sith here and 2 Sith there. That doesn't make sense.
Nope.
So Dad's coming. We watch as Sidious travels himself to Mandalore. And he doesn't get out much, so this is kind of big, right?
This is a big deal.
He is recognizing Maul might be a threat in this one. And I think that's really important because you have someone that's twisting with his plan, that's messing with everything that he's going for. And Sidious like, I can't have that. And so Maul asks to be an apprentice again, and Sidious says, nah, we're not doing that.
Nope, been there, done that.
Yep. And then we get the fight. The lightsabers of dark side against dark side. And it's another good one.
Yes.
But it doesn't last too long. You watch as Sidious is clearly just on another level as he kills Maul's brother Savage. And all Savage can do is apologize for failing. And you watch as the big muscly guy goes back down to the frailer knight brother as the magic, with a K, starts leaving him.
Yep.
Maul gives Sidious a run for the money. He's got the Darksaber and his lightsaber, and so he's giving Sidious a good try, but Sidious is still just night and day above him. And, oh, man, it's like he throws back to him as a kid because it's all of a sudden Force Lightning comes out and he's torturing him and throws out lines like, I will not kill you. You have become a rival, and that's useful. I'm like, oh my gosh, he's a pawn again. He's literally a weapon. Yep. All he wants to do is be recognized as someone worthwhile. Instead, he's just like, nah, you're going to bring out Talzin for me. It's all good.
Yeah, and this is just how evil Sidious is that this is the closest that Maul ever gets to being valued by Sidious, is the moment Sidious decides that he's dangerous enough to keep him as a tool, but he's not useful enough to make him his apprentice. He spends his whole life then trying to prove to him that he can be this apprentice, and the best that he achieves is being just a useful threat. It's almost like in Andor when I forget what his name is, but the guy who the one that was just constantly being beat, the one who was like dating oh my god, I'm forgetting all the names.
I don't remember like any names in Andor, so
yeah,
not my Star Wars best.
But he, at the very end of Andor, he sees Andor, like he hates Andor so much, he hates Cassian so much, he goes running over to try and kill Cassian, and he gets shot by somebody else, and then Cassian just looks at him and goes, "Who are you?"
Oh, that's Cyril.
And like, Cyril, that's his name, yes. And all Cyril wanted to do was kill Cassian. He had so much hatred towards him, and Cassian didn't even know who he is. This is very similar to this, where it's just like, Sidious just keeps using him just enough to make him like want to be there, but it's just so evil. He's just such an evil person. Man, so mean. Anyway.
So mean. Yep. Anyway, he's captured. We see in the comic series Son of Dathomir, which is one of the cool adaptations of a Clone Wars script, similar to the story with Quinlan Vos and Asajj Ventress. I don't remember what that one was. Was that Dark Disciple, I think?
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, I think so. But same idea of like they had so many ideas of what they could do. And so Death Watch breaks Maul out, at least the ones that are loyal. They capture Dooku and Grievous, and then they're like, this is it. This is our bait for Sidious. And then it almost works until it doesn't. And Talzin chooses, instead of trying to put up a little more fight, she uses the last of her magic, with a K, to throw Maul clear of the battle. And so Maul gets dragged out, and Mother Talzin gets stabbed by Grievous, and she's done. She's done.
She's done.
Maul's lost his brother. Maul's lost his mother. His father figure doesn't want him. He doesn't have his army. He's not the ruler of Mandalore. He's not a threat. Like, he's just nothing now. He's got nothing.
Yes. He's lost everything, and yet he still doesn't stop. It's either the most tragic thing about him or the most remarkable thing, or possibly both.
Very much so. Oh,
very
my
much
gosh.
so, yeah.
Yeah.
So everything that he has is taken away from him, and he still keeps trying.
Yep. He doesn't give up, and you got to respect him for that. But how do you build up from there? So, well, we get to the end of the Clone Wars, and Maul goes back to Mandalore. He's had a vision. Anakin Skywalker is the key, the chosen one. He's what Sidious needs for the victory, and he's going to be a Sith apprentice. Maul's like, I need to get him here. I need to kill him. I need to save the galaxy from Sidious taking over and everything. Oh, man, what a disappointment when it's Ahsoka Tano, Snips showing up with the troopers there. Like, Maul being so disrespected that you can't even send a Jedi Knight to go there. You send the apprentice.
It's also worth noting that what he says about the Force vision itself, Maul sees clearly what's coming, which Anakin can't or won't. The person most attuned to the threat is one nobody will trust or listen to. That's not an accident. It's the tragedy structured into the whole prequel era.
Like, Maul is just keep getting beaten down.
Yes.
Like, how do we do this to a guy who looks so dang cool? So
I know.
But I do love that this just keeps affirming at this point, though, like, Maul's life force exists because of his hatred. Like, he survived dying to Kenobi because of it. He survived the madness because he wanted Kenobi. And now he's still surviving, even though he's lost everything. But instead of wanting the Jedi dead, he wants to take out Sidious. It's just revenge and hatred purely. So he gets to look good because he's like, I'm trying to save the galaxy, but it's not really him trying to save the galaxy, right?
No. And like in this, it's like, okay, he's still not a good guy because he wants, like you said, he wants to take out Sidious, which would make him a good guy because Sidious is the bad guy. But he's not doing it for good guy reasons. He's doing it strictly out of hatred and out of revenge. So he's almost like stuck in the middle where he's not a good guy, he's not a bad guy anymore either. And so like this, and even as it happens with Ezra Bridger and all that stuff, it's like he's like almost stuck in the middle. But what they say, zebras can't change their stripes. So it's like, is he eventually going to go back to bad? And I think that's what Kanan Jarrus's big fear always was that the zebra's not going to change its stripes. So, but yeah, so at this point, he's now just angry at everybody almost.
Yep. But he's trying. And so, like,
he's trying.
He captures Ahsoka. You can't send the apprentice. That's not going to work.
Right.
Offers her a deal. Join me. Let's fight Sidious. Yep. And then Ahsoka makes him tell her. Maul has to say why Anakin is the one that he needs. And he explains it. And Ahsoka just can't believe it.
Yeah. Yeah, she says, I know Anakin. He would never turn.
Oh, it's such a good line.
Yeah, and then Ahsoka refusing to believe this is completely in character and completely tragic because she believes in young Annie, in the Annie that we know from the Clone Wars, and knows that he's not a bad guy.
He never has been.
But Maul can see it. Maul can see what's happening. And she knows Anakin better than almost anyone. And that intimacy is exactly what blinds her, that she can't see systemic? Systemic, that's the word. Thank you.
Yeah.
Systemic forces that Maul is describing because she's thinking about the person, not the actual pattern. So she doesn't see all the little things that are showing how he's actually not following a straight path down the Jedi way. He has little anger issues in him, but she doesn't see it because she's so close to him.
Yep. So they fight again. It's a incredible fight scene. Like, incredible animation throughout all of this to just watch as Ahsoka has figured out Maul and his fighting style or whatever it is that she can compete for a while. The Maul disarms her, corners her, gives her one last chance. She is able to kind of trip him down. And as he falls, she catches him. He's angry. He's yelling, "You have no idea what you've done. We're all going to die." And then he gets stunned and captured.
Yeah. I will say I don't want to say it's easier with animation, but you can have some really, really cool fight scenes with Jedi who can bend reality where gravity doesn't apply to them as much as it does to the normal person. Mm-hmm. So like these fight scenes are really, really awesome.
Yes, they are worth going back to watch just to give you an idea of what you might see in this next one, let alone with new fighting style that he's probably picked up in time. So anyway, this takes us to Order 66, where we are in the timeline. Maul is locked deep in a Mandalorian vault on a Star Destroyer. Snip's taken back to Coruscant for trial. Order 66 happens, and the clones are turning on Ahsoka. And Maul senses it. He knows that things have happened. And so Ahsoka, being as resourceful as she is, needs a distraction, breaks Maul out, and he just tears through the ship. He's using the Force to rip panels from the wall, slaughter all the clones. Like, he is just going to town until he gets to the hyperdrive room and destroys it. So the ship has to drop out of hyperspace, and then it just starts falling toward the moon. This scene, though, like this moment, like we get some of the most like gruesome kind of feeling things for this animated show. Like he pulled a clone trooper's arm through a closing blast door, just the arm, and so yikes.
It gets a little crazy. And the other thing that's fun about this, I was just looking it up because I was like, wait, this sounds like, and this is all taking place in season 8 of the Clone Wars, which was filmed in 2020, which was edited or recorded whatever in 2020, which was recorded after Rebels, which is what happens technically in the timeline next. But the Clone Wars, they had like the first 7 seasons, and then there was a long hiatus, and they had all these scripts written for this 8th season, and then they eventually went back and edited and recorded the last season. So as you're talking about all this, I'm going, wait, this is all, like, I know this happened, blah, blah, blah. So if you were to watch the Clone Wars straight through, it would make everything go a lot smoother and a lot easier. But in reality, in the time that it happened, Rebels was stuck in the middle there, and then this 8th season happened. But the 8th season of this, these fight scenes were actually done with real people, and then they computerized and CGI'd or whatever over top of the real people. So these fights were done with actual people first. So it really looks even more realistic because it was done with real people, and like the animators weren't able to bend or anything reality to make it work. So go back and watch these fights and these lightsaber battles, and they're amazing. So
yep. Spot on.
Sorry, I got a little distracted there as we were talking about Order 66.
Necessary distractions, but that was good because that let me sit and think and be like, "Oh, right, this is when the early Empire happens. So this is actually when we're gonna start getting into the TV show for Maul. Maybe flashbacks to other point, but this is where Maul, Shadow Lord, will actually start taking place. So
okay, yes."
Because this makes sense, because it's early Empire. That's when we're dealing with all the stormtroopers and everything. So,
right.
So Maul, similar to the Jedi, is getting hunted by Inquisitors. Vader's Jedi hunting force. They can't find him, so the Shadow is out there, and the Shadow goes back home and starts operating as the hidden leader of Crimson Dawn, the crime syndicate we talked about from the Solo movie. And Dryden Voss becomes the face to run the day-to-day operations.
Yeah, so Crimson Dawn, we saw, this was in Solo, where we saw Crimson Dawn's crime syndicate. And Crimson Dawn reveals that every scene with Dryden Voss is a scene with Maul's proxy. So just with a more presentable face, because you can't have somebody with red and black tattoos and a horn sticking out of his head blend in really well into modern society, modern Star Wars society.
And Voss is charismatic in like the bit of diplomacy that has to happen. Maul still hasn't quite gotten that one down.
Yeah, Maul's still a little angry.
Yeah.
So you need someone who will do a better job of diplomacy and charisma. It also makes Kira's arc in the comics much more interesting, because she's not just running the organization, she's continuing his actual ideological mission. So it's really cool at the end of the movie when she takes over.
Yep.
So
sad we didn't get a movie sequel, but here we get the comic sequel to kind of help us out and fill in some of those gaps maybe. So.
Yep.
And then that takes us to Star Wars Rebels, where he shows up again. You really can't kill this character or let him go out. So Maul shows up on Malachor. We're back. The place where he had to inhale those ashes. He's a helpless old man that he goes by the Old Master, and he basically tricks Ezra Bridger, the apprentice of Kanan Jarrus, working in through a lot of things to retrieve a Sith holocron. And then he betrays the rebels, blinds Kanan, and tries to take Ezra as his new apprentice. But Kanan uses the Force to compensate for his blindness, defeats Maul, and sends him falling from the temple. We've seen this before, though.
Yes, we've seen him fall before. We've seen him get cut in half before and still survive.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? He survives again. He resurfaces, and now he's obsessed over a vision both he and Ezra shared from a combined holocron, the twin suns. He knows Obi-Wan Kenobi is alive on a desert planet, and he goes once again to find Kenobi. Kenobi's the only relationship in Maul's life that wasn't defined by power and use. Sidious owned him, Savage served him, Vizsla tried to manipulate him. Kenobi is the one person who hurt him purely without agenda. That's almost the closest thing he has to an equal.
Yeah, the one little bit of humanity that he's got left, right? So
yes.
So we go to the center of the universe, the Junlin Wastes of Tatooine.
Which is in the outer rim, but yet always center in every single movie, TV series, whatever.
All roads lead to Tatooine. Yeah.
They sure do.
Maul is just exhausted, going mad again, looking for Kenobi, can't find him, forces Ezra to be as bait, and he just waits for Kenobi to show up, and he finally does, and we finally get this confrontation between the two of them again.
Obi-Wan's now a weathered desert hermit. We've seen this before. Sees through the trap immediately. He knows what this is. When Maul ignites his blade and they face each other, Kenobi assumes the opening stance of Sornso, then shifts to Ataru, and which was Qui-Gon style. Maul recognizes it instantly. He charges. 3 exchanges. Maul brings his lightsaber hilt up to strike Kenobi's face, the exact same move that killed Qui-Gon decades earlier. Kenobi has been waiting. He knows. He brings his blade down in an overhead strike, cleaves through Maul's weapon, and carves a lethal wound in his chest. Not cutting him off at the waist, going a little higher, aiming for the heart.
Literally,
Kenobi,
20 seconds of combat. He switches from his defensive stance of Sorasu into the attack style that Qui-Gon uses, and it's like, oh, here we go. Maul is just thinking, I beat your master with this. Why are you doing this again?
Yeah.
Why are you doing this? So, yeah, and so he knew what to do.
Kenobi doesn't win because he's stronger. He wins because he knew exactly what Maul would do, because Kenobi taunted him by saying, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do what you did to beat my master, and then I'm going to trick you. He's been thinking about this fight for 30 years. Do you think both of them have been thinking, like Kenobi's been thinking also? Because he killed his master, so I think he would be.
I think Kenobi's just been like playing it back in his head so much. Like, it's that tragedy of losing, basically his father figure as well.
Yeah.
And Maul's just playing it back, but it's just the rage. Like, everything's red because all he sees is Kenobi, and I want to kill Kenobi. And so he doesn't think about how he won or how he lost. That's where Kenobi gets the advantage. Oh, but the death is so tragic because Maul goes down, Kenobi catches him, still showing that humanity, and just holds him as he dies.
Yep.
And so Maul, finally accepting that he's actually going to die this time, it's for real this time, asks if the boy's the chosen one. And Obi-Wan, sensing the desperation for closure, says yes, the boy will destroy the Sith. And Maul's last words, just so haunting.
He will avenge us.
Oh, it's so good. Like, he's been
so
just
good.
Angry, mad, losing everything. And so finally he's got, like, peace as he dies, which is probably why he can finally die. Like, he's not holding on to the rage anymore. So
no. Yeah. So after all that rage, he, believing in something, Obi-Wan closes his eyes and lays him down. And then he builds a funeral pyre. Us is doing enormous work in that line because Kenobi thinks that he's saying it as in the boy will take down the Sith.
Yep.
But Maul means it as in he's going to take over for the Sith, and he's going to avenge the Sith who are getting beaten by the rebels. So it's great that they both are like, yeah, he is, but they don't realize that they're disagreeing with each other as they're both agreeing with each other.
Either way, they got peace, right? That's all that matters. Neither of them have to be right. They don't need to know. They don't need to know who is right or wrong. They can just finally let it go. Like 30 years of struggle in the making, finally at peace.
Yep, and so the man who killed Qui-Gon is being held by Qui-Gon's student as he dies, and they both find peace in that moment together. Let me tell you, this dude, Maul, is awesome. I think between Maul and Thrawn, like, I feel like they do so much more with bad guys.
Mm-hmm.
In the Disney era, has done so much more with bad guys than... and I guess some of Thrawn started before the Disney era, so I'll give them that. But like, there's so much depth to this character Maul, and especially all this hatred that he has for these 30 years, and just how he was abused leading into it as a child, and how that abuse and that anger and all that rage. I mean, the rage alone is what kept him alive when he got chopped in half. If he didn't have all that anger and he was able to use the dark force to keep him alive with just his anger and his rage, he would have died like anybody else did. But because he was such an angry fella, and because he had so much rage and hatred inside of him, it was able to keep him alive until he was able to build his own spider legs and then survive. So
True.
now after listening to all this and going through all this again, like, I really can't wait for what's about to come.
Yeah, I wrote down 3 big thoughts that I have about Maul and his arc and everything. And so, like, we've talked a lot about him being the tragic figure throughout of this, because he never had a choice of what his life was going to be. He was stolen, traumatized, shaped into the weapon he is. But then later on, he did have choices. So it's like he could have tried to get away from it. He could have gone different. In a comic on Dathomir, Qui-Gon offered him a vision at redemption. Qui-Gon could have let Maul become back into something good or from it, but instead Maul attacked it. And then Ahsoka got refused through that offer that was going. And so it's like he just never had a chance at it.
Yeah. I don't know if he ever would have. I feel like his hatred is so deep that no matter how many opportunities you give him, even when he was, with Rebels, and he was no longer a bad guy.
He didn't have to be.
He was still a bad guy.
Yeah,
exactly. Like he wanted to kill Sidious for the wrong reasons, out of revenge, not because he was an evil person, but just out of revenge for all the things that he did to him, type of thing.
Yeah, and 2 wrongs don't make a right. So
no. So so he's definitely a tragic figure, and he was a tragic figure his entire life. And if anything, you could go back in time to when right before he got stolen, and just hide him and just give him a hug, and we wouldn't have any of this story.
Or what if he became a Jedi? What if they came and found
that
him
would be
instead?
even better. Oh my gosh.
Good.
And I
good
think
what
there
if
was
idea.
one. Yeah. I think there was a Zabrak Jedi in one of the it could happen, but oh my gosh, if he was a Jedi instead, it would be so amazing. But this is a good evil bad guy there, so I like that anyway.
Yeah. All right, thought number 2. Maul doesn't die full of rage. He dies with hope, borrowed hope, in fairness. And so he's got hope in something he won't live to see. And it's all about a galaxy that he spent his whole life trying to control or destroy. And so it has to be enough for him that he has hope from someone else for something that he's never going to get to see or experience.
Right. I also like that this ending is kind of parallel to Darth Vader's ending.
Yeah.
When at the end, Luke takes his mask off and he's able to not be angry anymore, and so then he becomes a good guy at the very end. Not saying that Maul becomes a good guy at the very end, but Maul at least can now relax at the very end. He can just, and then now he's calm. His thoughts are calm because he knows that there's somebody else who's going to take over, and then he can peacefully die, kind of the way Anakin and Darth Vader peacefully died once Luke saved him as well. So that's a good point there. I do enjoy that as well.
I like that parallel a lot too. I don't know if I'd really considered that one. So which takes to the last part of that Kenobi relationship being like that emotional key in the core of everything. Kenobi is Maul's white whale, and so when they meet at the end, Maul's not getting the satisfaction that he's hoping for. He's exhausted. He's going mad. He has nothing left to really live for other than that hatred, and so Kenobi just is merciful and ends him. And so, what does that say for both of them? Maul was like looking forward to this, and he just wasn't ready for it. And Kenobi kind of goes against the Jedi thing for killing, but it's a Sith, and Sith Lords are their specialty, so...
Yeah. And also, like you said, Kenobi had been thinking the same thing, just not as angrily as Maul was. But, for 30 years, he was thinking about how this guy killed his master, his Jedi master, and how if he ever saw him again, knowing that he's a Sith, that it would be okay in the Jedi mindset to kill him. And I also think because Kenobi's thoughts were clearer is the reason he was able to win so quickly and so easily. Because he wasn't so clouded with just anger and just hatred and whatever, that he was able to go, okay, I'm going to outsmart you, right? Here, boom,
Done. Yep.
Done. But yeah, I think they both had the same relationship for all 30 years of always wanting to get revenge on the other one.
Yep.
Maul just happened to be a lot more angry about it.
Yep. Yep. So that's the end of Maul. So
yes,
we get to fill in the blanks of a lot of things between. We could go on watching the show knowing Maul's not going to die, at least not permanently. Who knows if he gets cut in half again or whatever kind of goes with that one. And we get to add to the list. We can see Maul in the Clone Wars. Seasons 4 and 7 and a lot of that. He's in seasons 2 and 3 of Rebels for like Malachor and Twin Sons. Solo, he shows up at the end of it, and this probably makes a lot more sense now of why he's showing up in that one. And then of course books, comics, there's a lot of other places that you could really look for that one and just enjoy this poor tragic character who always was poisoned no matter where he was going to go. Never had a real shot.
Nope. Poor fella, he was always tortured. Kind of like doing a podcast. No, I'm kidding.
Where you just have to sit and listen to me this week. So
Yeah. No, it was awesome. I mean, this was a great, very thorough rundown from beginning to the end. I love it. And like I said, I went back and I watched season 4, the 3 episodes of season 4 of the Clone Wars. I do have to go back and rewatch season 7. And I do think that seasons 2 and 3 with Rebels were some really, really good storytelling with him. And you get to see him, like I said, almost try and be a good guy. But even as you're watching him try to be a good guy, you're like, is he trying to be a good guy or is he not trying to be a good guy? Like, you're like so
suspicious.
confused.
I love it.
Yeah, so suspicious. So, but this was awesome. This is a great lead up to the Maul Shadow Lord, which will be happening on the beginning of April. So
April 6th,
hopefully
2 episodes.
April 6th. Yes. So hopefully all of this helps you better understand who Maul is, because it's been a long time since we've seen him in a TV show or even in a movie or anything like that. So what is all the hype about? Now you know. And he is just an awesome, awesome dude. So,
and we're excited to chat about that show in the future.
Yes, I can't wait. And I think James has done enough talking for one night.
Mm-hmm.
So I am going to let him off the hook. This was an amazing episode. Please tell your friends. Don't forget to go to our Facebook page, Bantha Milk Podcast. We're on Instagram at Bantha Milk Podcast as well. And let me just double check. Yep, Bantha Milk Podcast on Instagram, on Facebook. And you can check us out. I don't really partake too much, but the Ears Up Discord channel, there is a Star Wars section in there for us to also talk about. And Olivia said, great job, James. She's so excited now. She knows everything there is to know. She wants to be Maul for Halloween.
You should.
She can actually say that. Yeah, but you should definitely do that, Olivia. You should definitely be Maul for Halloween this year. So I am going to let James go. And from all of us here at Bantha Milk Podcast, while we're drinking our brother's, sister's beer here, we both drank the same brand. So I say, James has spoken.
We have spoken.